All right, hopefully this one works. I don't know why the last couple are not working, but hopefully this one does. Hello to anyone who is able to tune in for this very, very quick live stream. Just had some thoughts in my brain and I wanted to get them out onto a live stream so I didn't forget about them later. This live stream will be about conservatism in American politics and why I think that conservatism is currently the best way for Christians to think in a consistent way. More specifically, I'll be explaining why I am a conservative and why I think that it is a good framework for the development of virtue. I think a lot of times when people are asked, why are you liberal or why are you conservative? Or otherwise, I guess, by party affiliation. So why are you Democrat, why are you Republican? But I'm not really concerned about that as much right now. Really, I'm focused on the values, right? So liberal versus conservative. Why do you tend towards one of those? And I would, of course, say that I am conservative, politically conservative. So then people would be right in asking, okay, why are you a conservative? Why do you identify as a conservative given current American politics? Well, I would say it's because the conservative tradition and the conservative philosophical landscape allows for the easier pursuit of Christian virtue. I'm going to say that again. The conservative political and philosophical landscape allows for a greater possibility and greater openness for the pursuit of Christian virtue. A lot of people, when they're asked why they're liberal or conservative, they'll have very specific points. A lot of people I know say that they're liberal because they support abortion, and so they go based off like a specific policy. And a lot of people who I know who identify as conservative would say, "Oh, well, I'm against abortion, so I would obviously say I'm conservative." Now, while that's fair enough, trust me, I am very much so against abortion as well. That wouldn't necessarily be the foundational reason why I would say that I'm a conservative. I'm a conservative because I believe that the conservative philosophical and political landscape allows for the more full possibility of the pursuit of Christian virtue. So, why do I say it like that? It allows for the more full possibility of the pursuit of Christian virtue. Well, it's because I think anyone who's a Christian can agree that neither party fully represents a Christian worldview in a perfect sense, right? Or at least none of the from either party ever really reflect the fullness of a Christian worldview. It also be what many Christians hold to. The reason is deeper than most people realize. It's because conservatism, though it does not have candidates that accurately or fully represent the Christian belief system and Christian virtues, it does allow for the possibility of the pursuit of Christian virtues and the pursuit of Christian ethics. While liberalism in America seems to remove, or at least lessen, the possibility of that pursuit of Christian virtue. To say it more simply, conservatives allow for more freedom in discussion, more freedom in speech, usually, and at least conservatism does that pretty consistently. It allows for more freedom of speech, more freedom of discussion, more freedom of the exchange of ideas, and also of competition of ideas, competition of resources, competition of economics. And as a result, it drives greater openness for discussion, for competition, which I think is good for Christian virtue and the development and pursuit of Christian virtues. For instance, if you hold to a liberal philosophy, you might hold that it's more virtuous for the government to take from individuals a larger percentage and give it to those who have less. The issue is that while that might seem to be the case, which historically that's just not the case. For very large countries, that's just not how it works. But while that might seem the case on paper to some, which again is factually incorrect, it doesn't actually tend towards a greater Christian virtue. In that, instead of allowing for the possibility of the pursuit of generosity, it seems pursuit of that virtue by necessitating or requiring that people give to the government in a way that's very impersonal, in a way that's, just because people don't want to get arrested for evasion of taxes, right? And so there's less virtue developed in the individual because there's less freedom for the pursuit of that virtue in a liberal philosophical landscape. While the conservative tradition and the conservative philosophical landscape allows for the pursuit of Christian virtue by allowing for the pursuit of the virtue of generosity and the desire for the well-being of other individuals and communities. Furthermore, while liberalism has a tendency, in America at least, to censor very quickly opposition, you see this at protests, you see this at rallies, you see this in academia, you see this even in the PhD academic literature and all the issues with science and nature, the current really big academia publishers that are having a whole lot of issues because now people realize that a lot of those peer-reviewed journals and essays and articles are actually not that peer-reviewed and not that carefully vetted. In either case, it allows for the greater pursuit of virtue when you have the open exchange of ideas that you see with the greater care for freedom of speech in conservative groups. So conservatism allows for the greater exchange of ideas, which is necessary for evangelism. It allows for the greater exchange of debates without censorship, which again is greater for evangelistic purposes and apologetic purposes for Christianity. And it allows for a greater intellectual understanding of various religious traditions so as to better evangelize to them without closing off evangelistic practice out of fear of offending some through the difference of opinion or difference of belief in religion and philosophy. So freedom of speech and the desire for people to pursue generosity as a personal virtue are more openly available and possible in a conservative philosophical and political landscape. Furthermore, conservatives allow for the greater pursuit of Christian virtue and the notion of objective morality, which is a really good foundation for a culture to have and to share. While many liberals in the political and philosophical discussions, especially in academia, but also outside of that, it just seems, in the culture at large, hold to an idea of relativism or some form of it, maybe a subjectivist approach to truth and morality and beauty. The issue with that is that leads culture down a very dark and dangerous path. If everyone in your culture thinks that morality and cultural values and distinctions and beauty and truth are all just relative notions made up by the individual, then it's more difficult to form a singular cultural unit, or at least a singular cultural foundation. But here's the issue. What's the foundation of a good country? Well, the foundation of a good, strong country and good, strong culture is some shared philosophical, moral, and political foundation of some kind. A socially shared or self-evident set of truths, right? That's a good foundation for a healthy, thriving, and safe culture. Well, if you assume relativism, then you don't really have any shared values or shared beliefs about the nature of morality, axiologically, morally, epistemically, whatever it might be. And that leads to a lot of issues. Now you have a significant amount of heterogeneity in basic foundational beliefs about the way that culture should function. And when that's the case, you have very disruptive cultures that are very divisive and that are not able to agree on foundational points because they don't think the idea of agreement is even something that's worth pursuing, because again, it's all relativistic. While in conservatism, there is this generalized shared belief and understanding about the notion of objective morality, objective truth, objective beauty, or things which are more right than other things. This conservative tradition, this tradition to conserve prior beliefs and values as a foundation. Well, if you have this belief that you should have some shared foundation between individuals, then you're able to more fully have a thriving culture and thriving nation, even in the face of diversity of various beliefs and opinions, because you still have this belief that there is some sense of shared objective morality, even if you might disagree about what that is, and that allows for greater dialogue and greater pursuit of virtue, of ethics, of human flourishing, cultural flourishing, in the face of cultural diversity. There's at least this shared foundation, and conservatism offers that foundation of an assumed possibility or reality of objective morality, objectivity of truth, and objectivity of some axiological statement, right? Maybe beauty or something. If that's the case, then conservatism, again, over and over and over, tends to allow for the greater possibility of the development of Christians, Christian conservatives, just Christians in general. Well, if that's the case, then I think we should desire to support anything that allows for the greater pursuit and the greater possibility of Christian virtue. There's a lot more I could say about this, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to lose connection pretty soon. So again, that's why I'm conservative, not because a politician offers a right reflection of Christian ideals, but because conservatism as a political approach and as a political philosophy offers the greater possibility of the pursuit, development, and accrual of Christian virtue in individuals, in a nation, for greater unity, greater shared value of individuals, greater safety, and a great deal of other things that I could say when I'm not about to lose connection. But with all that being said, I'll try to develop a video on this more fully and more deeply at a different point. God bless you all. I hope you all stay safe. And remember that Jesus Christ is Lord.